Every birder needs a spotting scope, and I like to use the Hawke Endurance ED 85mm.
In this video, I'm going to show you all there is to see, from its focus system to its lenses and everything in between.
So the very first thing I like about this scope is its clarity. Heat shimmer is a pretty big problem for scopes, especially when you're zoomed out all the way at the very end at like 75 times. This scope, I think, does a fantastic job of minimizing heat shimmer and chromatic aberration, and if you're zoomed in to 25 times, you can almost always see the birds even in the very middle of the day. The scope has a zoom range of 25 to 75 times. Hawke also has their dual focus system, which makes it very easy to quickly focus on a bird. The very first dial moves the focus fast so you can generally get in the right range quickly, and the smaller dial gives it a more finer adjustment. Hawke also has a lens hood on this. I've never had to use it, but if you do have the sun coming in sideways, that will give you a lens flare, and you don't want that, so it's always nice to know that you have a lens hood to use if you need it. Hawke also says that this scope is 100% waterproof, so if you were to drop it in the water, it should be fine. Fortunately, I've never had to test that, but it's always nice to know that if you're caught out in a rainstorm or something, this scope should be fine. The scope also has an eye relief in case you're wearing glasses or something like that. The tripod foot on here is nice and secure. I've got my 85mm tripod plate on here. I really like this tripod plate as it's very sturdy and seems like it could last a very long time. So one problem that you're always going to face with spotting scopes, especially the bigger ones, is heat shimmer. So if you go during the middle of the day, the heat reflecting off water or land is going to be magnified by whatever you're zoomed in. With this scope, if you go all the way out, it would be 75 times, so then all the heat that's shimmering off the land or water is being magnified 75 times, which makes it very blurry and hard to identify birds or even see birds. There are a couple ways to minimize this, such as going early in the morning or late in the evening, or not zooming out all the way. For example, this scope does a very good job at 25 times, minimizing all the heat shimmer. You also get two rubber lens caps for your scope so that the glass does not scratch or break while you're traveling with it, and a nice cover that also has a carrying strap on it if you want to carry the scope over your shoulder. If the scope's on your tripod, this probably isn't going to be very comfortable, and it'd be better to just put this tripod over your shoulder, but if you're just carrying the scope by itself, this is a great option, and the case is also really nice. So I always have this on my scope as it protects it from dings and stuff like that. So something that you're going to need for this scope is a very sturdy tripod. You don't want too flimsy of a tripod because then it could easily fall over and break your scope, and you definitely don't want that happening. So click the video up here where I break down the tripod I use to hold up this scope.